Raw after a pay-per-view, and even if the pay-per-view wasn't very good, I'm sure this Raw will be, won't it? Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to some more Raw thoughts. Now I must say off the bat that despite my cheery disposition, I am not feeling at all well today, so I'm going to try and make this one as quick as I can. Look at the time, I don't do quick vids, come on. I tried to make my Night of Champions review quick, and it was 23 minutes or something ridiculous like that. I'm going to try and speed through this one as fast as I can, because honestly guys, I could throw up at any moment. I do not feel good at all today. Alright, so after the usual recaps of what happened at the Night of Champions, out comes Bryan. He goes to tell us that we're awesome, and the only way to describe how he feels is yes, yes, yes. And out comes Hunter. Now I'm talking to my friend Roy on Facebook chat because I watched the first 2 hours of this Raw live, yeah? And he says to me, before the show starts, do you reckon Bryan's leaving this Raw with the championship? I said no. He replied with, I don't think he's getting past the first segment. So bang on the money with that. Hunter comes out. He wants to address the fast count. Now, it's interesting that the commentators didn't mention the fast count at all at Night of Champions. But yeah, apparently social media is blowing up about it, yada, yada, yada. Brings out Scott Armstrong, shows us one of Scott Armstrong's normal counts, showed us the count from Night of Champions. Clearly it's different. Clearly it's a fast count. I'll ask Scott Armstrong, what's your explanation? He says, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. That's as simple as that. Hunter chews him out about it, and he thinks that Scott is hiding something. So Scott turns to Bryan and says, they're on to us, they figured us out. And then I was like, what the fuck's up with that? Bryan's sort of looking at this incredulous look on his face, like, what on earth are you on about? And of course, this all looks like some big-ass conspiracy, doesn't it? But basically, Triple H chews Bryan out for siding with the referee, for doing something like this. Basically strips him of the championship. Not going to give the belt back to Orton, though. There's going to be no WWE championship. Champion even, not championship, that's the belt. Orton comes out, he's vexed about this, he takes out Bryan. Now I'm sure there's a lot of people going absolutely tech about this one, and of course it is quite balls, isn't it, that Bryan is now a two-time WWE champion, I can't say championship again then, but he's held the belt for a combined, one day, and that's it. But, you know, I mean, it's one of those things, I'm not angry about it, because I try my hardest not to get angry about wrestling shows, but it's just one of those, this was an alright segment, of course, it had Triple H in it, so it was way too long. It's one of those, get to the fucking point. But, you know, I mean, I said, didn't I, that I didn't think that Bryan was going to win the championship at Night of Champions, because I thought it was too soon. So now you've got two reasons for Bryan to be vexed about the corporation or whatever they're called. So in the back, Randy Orton is vexed at not getting the championship. So Stephanie is in turn vexed at him. She yells at him. She doesn't want this version of Randy Orton to represent WWE. She wants the old Randy Orton, the one who DDT'd me and all that. It's like, fair enough. Our first match of the evening is Dolph Ziggler defeating Dean Ambrose in a good match. Of the three matches they've had, I didn't see the one on SmackDown, obviously, but I thought this match was better than the match that they had at Night of Champions, believe it or not. And Zigzag gets the win, sorry. In the back, Stephanie McMahon tells Big Show to stay in the back unless she asks for him. Our next match is Fandango defeating R-Truth in a short match that's nothing special but nothing offensive. And we see Dusty Rhodes surrounded by babyfaces in the back. Dusty Rhodes then comes out. I loved this segment, and I genuinely can't do it justice because I can feel my guts starting to churn, and because I haven't, this is one of those segments you need to go and watch. Basically, Dusty comes out. He talks about, that tonight isn't about him, it's about Cody, a little boy who always did everything right. He talks about firing Cody being good for business, and that Goldust trying to get Cody's job back, and all that stuff that's happened recently. He wants Cody to earn his job back, as Stephanie comes out to come out with her business proposal. Out comes Stephanie and her truly awful music. I mean, I don't like that at all. I mean, everyone knows I'm a drum and bass head, yeah. So everyone hates the music I like, and I'm happy with this fact. Honestly, I am, because it gives me a little bit of exclusivity. You know what I mean? But God, Stephanie's music is awful. She calls him Virgil, which is his real name, which makes you go, ooh, like that. Basically, Stephanie ramps up the mean factor. She starts talking about how Dusty ignored his son for years and years, because if you know Well, if you know anything, if you read Goldust's book, for example, you'll know that they were estranged for a long, long time. So, yeah, she ramps up the mean factor, and, yeah, they go back and forth, and it's really good stuff. But basically, Stephanie McMahon gives him a choice. One of your sons can have his job back, either Cody or Goldust. Now, on paper, if it's just me, you give it straight to Cody, no second thought. And it's nothing new. It's like Goldust, who made his debut in the WWE in 1996, and had quite a few runs with the company. And while he looked awesome with Randy, it's like, come on, Cody's younger and hungrier and yada, yada, yada. But, basically, Dusty won't choose between the two. And he shouts at Stephanie, says, "You can go to hell." He goes to leave. This, of course, brings the Shield out. And, they surround the ring as much as they can, 3 sides of it. And then, basically, Stephanie McMahon brings Big Show out and says, "Yeah, I'll give you another choice then. Either the Shield can batter you with chairs, or the Big Show can knock you out." Dusty won't choose, and of course, you or me just roll out the ring and go, "Fuck, I don't want either, thank you." Can balls to yourself. But basically, Stephanie chooses for him, tells Big Show to knock him out. Big Show starts crying again. Wish he would stop doing that, to be honest. That one's starting to wear a little bit thin. In the end, though, he says, "I'm sorry," bam. And the way that Dusty crumples into Big Show's arms is absolutely fantastic. And Big Show really sells like he's really good about what he's done. I love this segment. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. My worry at the moment with this is that Stephanie is so mean at the moment, and all heels need to get their comeback, don't they? Their comeuppance, sorry. That's what heels need to do. They need to be evil, and then they get the shit kicked out of them, and that's how it goes. Steph, who's going to batter Steph? There's no one on the roster that can do it, and it's just one of those things. We've got a 6 Diva match happen. I couldn't even tell you who was in it, to be honest. I was by this point of the show, I put my Xbox on because I thought it was funny watching my friends sign in like one after the other, and Grand Theft Auto, like, what are they doing? Grand Theft Auto 5, Grand Theft Auto 5, And at one point I had 10 friends online, and all of them were playing Grand Theft Auto, and it's like, wow, that must be one hell of a game. Incidentally, if you're wondering, the last Grand Theft Auto game that I bought was San Andreas, and I'm not saying that I'm not going to get GTA 5 at any point. I can't see it being for a while. I loved GTA 3, the Liberty City one, was an amazing game. I love that. And I love Vice City as well. And like I say, I played, finished. I was one of the people who queued up to get San Andreas. Trust me. But yeah, I'll get it soon. Because F1 2013 is out in a couple of weeks. I'd rather save my money and get that, to be honest. RVD defeated Damien Sandow in a short nothing match where the Money in the Bank holder lost again. What do you do? And then 5-star Frog Splash gets the win, obviously. And then now it's Miz versus Orton, and you go, yay! And then you realise that it's Miz's hometown, and you go, now then, WWE have got this really great habit of, if you're in someone's hometown, instead of bigging them up, like, this is your hometown boy, they get the shit kicked out of them. So you're thinking to yourself, Miz versus Orton, maybe Miz is going to get owned. And in the back, Hunter fires Scott Armstrong like the Healy bastard that he is. Still believe there's more to this one than that, but we'll come out to it shortly. We'll come out to it shortly. I don't know what that means. We'll come out to it shortly. Oh, excuse me. Oh, I've got cramps in my tummy. Ooh, come on, let's get this finished. Come on. Well, I'm sure there's more to this one, and we'll see it down the line. It's something like that, as I'm not meant to say. Miz comes out, stands with his family, and of course, Orton absolutely batters him. I mean, absolutely batters him. Steph said we didn't see the old Orton, so we do. Absolutely batters him in front of his family. His dad couldn't give a shit. That's true. The thing is, the match lasts 90 seconds before it's thrown out of a double disqualification. We see a draping DDT off the ring barrier. Miz's mum, Miz's dad couldn't give a shit. Uninterested. But let me tell you something, Willis. I love seeing Miz get owned because he's a cock. The thing about Miz is that his heel character was quite effective because he was, he did the whole I'm better than you, I'm awesome, And that type of character you want to see get battered, don't you? So watching Miz getting battered here was very, very satisfying. But I tell you something, I could watch the Miz getting battered by the gobbledygooker and be happy about it. Hell, in an Iron Man match, watching Miz versus the Shockmaster, if the Shockmaster wins, then I'm a happy boy, It's that kind of shit. I'm sure Spaz Phoenix was weeping while this all happened. And I loved how Orton gets in the ring, yeah, puts a chair on Miz's head and just for a split second hesitates about doing something. Then takes a massive run up and drops a big knee to the back of the head. Miz is taken to the hospital. Bye, Miz. No one gives a shit about you. Or another awesome segment. And then, that's where I fell asleep. This was at 3 in the morning over here in England. I fell asleep. So this last hour, I've watched some Daily Motion this morning. So Paul Heyman comes out in a wheelchair with Ryback and Axel. Paul says he's the best in the world and that he pins CM Punk. He says there was no backup plan last night and he was legitimately getting owned by CM Punk until one beautiful man comes out. Ryback says he can't stand bullies. He says, do you think Heyman deserved all this? And the crowd are like, yes! As one, which is brilliant. He swears that Punk will never get his hands on Heyman. And then Heyman's looking at Ryback like he's in love with him. And it's really creepy. And then he shows his gratitude to Ryback by kissing him on the cheek. And you're like, God, that was awesome. Paul Heyman is seriously my favourite performer in WWE at the moment. He is brilliant. He is absolutely superb. Oh, and Los Matadors are still coming. Then the Usos defeated Tons of Funk and Real Americans in a surprisingly good and surprisingly long three-way dance. I love Sweet Tea holding the butterfly suplex up for ages on Cesaro. That was really nice. Sarah pinned Sweet Tea after about 5 minutes. And then we got good stuff between the other two teams. Really clever finish as Jack Swagger hits a super belly-to-belly suplex off the top rope on one of the Usos. And just the split second before he lifts him up, yeah, the other Uso tags him in. And of course, because of the fall of a superplex, you land hard, don't you? So the other Uso is able to hit a supervised splash to get the win. I enjoyed that and I think, yeah, that was a surprise. You look at that and just go, oh, really? This one's going to be a 2-minute match and no one's going to give a shit. This one went about 14 minutes, something like that. Good stuff. And then we got a creepy but good Wyatt family promo. We recap the Dusty segment, which of course was good to do. And then it's time for a main event as Roman Reigns defeating Daniel Bryan by disqualification after a good match. This one went 18 minutes, folks, if you can believe that. And I enjoyed myself. Both men look good as always. Bryan gets a yes lock on Reigns, Orton gets in and causes the disqualification. And then in something that I just did not expect at all, as Orton and the Shield start battering Bryan. But then, from out of nowhere, a load of babyface jobbers come out. The Usos come out and Justin Gabriel comes out and Zack Ryder comes out and RVD comes out and you're all getting fired on the SmackDown by Triple H. That's just a fact, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, they all get their licks in, apart from Kofi Kingston, who gets speared by Roman Reigns, which made me laugh. But yeah, Rocker Dropper for Ambrose, double super kick for Reigns, and then that double run in, the knee that defeated Cena, which is what it should just be called, for Rollins. And then Bryan is lifted up on the shoulders of the babyfaces. Massive, massive yes chance. End the show. I'm sorry I haven't been as in-depth as I usually am. Like I say, I'm not feeling very good. I've tried to take some painkillers and put my big face on while I'm doing this, because I know you guys, yeah, you wanted my Raw review, but I'm sure people are vexed about Bryan losing the championship, and I can understand that, but it's one of those things, it's only wrestling. I'm sure it'll all sort itself out. The Dusty and Steph segment, the Orton Miz segment was absolutely fantastic. I really enjoyed that. This is one of those, let me tell you something about this show, yeah. Once again, it didn't feel like a 3-hour show, which is always a good thing. It wasn't as Raws after pay-per-views go, this one wasn't the best, was it? I mean, there was quite a lot of matches on this one that just like, oh, you know, Sandow versus RVD, for example, the Divas match. But yeah, I enjoyed myself. It was a good Raw. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will be back on Friday with a WCW Fall Brawl 1997 review as part of my 97th Heaven series. I hope you've enjoyed this vid. I hope you'll tune in to see that one. I've been Mark P. Hit like, hit subscribe, leave me a comment if you don't mind. Share this vid. Do that something, right? A lot of people say to me, how can I help you when you grow and that? What I need you to do is share this vid on Twitter or on Facebook. If you enjoyed it, you put on Facebook, look, I really enjoyed this vid. You know, that would really, really help me out. That'd be awesome. Thank you very much if you do that for me. I've been Mark P. Take it easy, guys. I'm going to go and be sick.